All right. Sounds like everybody can hear us. So thank you guys for putting your comments in there. So one of the things I do just want to kind of go over, I know this live event is kind of new, how we use this at Ardurra. So you guys won't be able to talk to us. You'll only be able to hear us, and then the way that you will want to send your questions is through that Q&A. You'll be able to enter questions on your side. You won't see the questions unless we publish them. So when that happens later at the end, you'll be able to see information of in that section. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today. You should be seeing some slides up on the screen. We're going to go through a presentation as we talk today. So if you're having any difficulties with that, just enter that into the chat for me. So this is the Ardurra Cares program overview. Again, thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to kind of just share what we want to talk about today. We'll have a couple other people also joining me to kind of give some updates on this. So we're going to kind of just go over the program. What is the Ardurra Cares program? We've gotten that question a lot recently. How can you get involved? We're going to talk about some quarterly themes that we've developed for the program. We'd like to give a spotlight update on the education theme that we had for quarter one. We're also going to share with you the regional contacts, and then we'll have some time at the end for some questions. So here we're going to talk about the program overview. And so what is Ardurra Cares? And in 2020, Ardurra Cares was started as a way for the company and the employees to give back. It's essentially an employee program that provides employees the opportunity to give back through either charitable giving or through volunteering of time and service where you live or where you work. So it's gonna, we hope that's providing you an opportunity to build relationships in the community, to build leadership skills as a part of being involved in the opportunities that you're going to do, and also some team building. We see that Ardurra Cares is going to be part of the social aspect of the company's ESG goals. So ESG just stands for environmental, social, and governance. And the social component of ESG is generally about relationships. So it's about maintaining a healthy work culture for employees. Like it's about relations with outside stakeholders and our communities where we operate. So ESG just takes a holistic view of that sustainability is something beyond just environmental issues. So we're looking at that Ardurra Cares can build the social part of that. So the program is going to be led by employees in each geographic region where we have offices. We intend for the program to be fun. We want it to be fun. We want you to inspire collaboration, collaborative opportunities for you, not just yourself and your groups, but also with the community. And we want it to support a healthy workplace culture. So it is going to, Ardurra Cares is going to support ongoing activities that are already happening in many of the offices. So many of you are in offices where there were already volunteer opportunities happening. And this is just an extension of that. We would like, Ardurra Cares to provide some structure for tracking and sharing new and existing volunteer opportunities. We don't intend for it to replace or restrict anything that you're currently doing as charitable activities in your office or location. So we know that stuff's already happening across the organization. We just want to be able to track that and have a way of sharing that with everyone else. So the framework for Ardurra Cares is basically how do we see the program functioning? And so we will have quarterly initiatives to focus on a theme for each quarter. So it's designed to help make offices across the company feel connected and inspired in a common goal. It's not intended, again, like we said before, it's not intended to restrict any charitable activities. So if your office is already doing charitable work or you already partner with an organization, you should continue to do that. Like, even though it doesn't tie to the quarterly theme, like, we don't want you to stop doing those things. We have an overall budget each year that's going to be defined during the annual HR budgeting process. And there's a couple of ways that we see that this budget would be used. And so the funds that are designated for Ardurra Cares will be used towards charitable events or supplies, like including sponsorships. At this time, like we've kind of just said, $250 as a limit. Obviously, that can change in the future, but this is just, as we start, this is what we'd like to do. And then donations can also be made to nonprofit organizations that are registered as a 501c3 organization. Part of the framework also includes reporting and marketing of the program. So we will provide, you guys probably saw an email this morning from the programs coordinator that provides their quarterly email blasts about information. So we plan to quarterly send out updates through the programs coordinator email. We'll also provide information to the benchmark newsletter in order to have information in the newsletter. And then also, when possible, we'll post highlights on Ardurra's social media. Ultimately, we have a reach goal. So by 2025, we would like to establish a nonprofit foundation with a 501c status that allows for more impact on a non-tax basis. So we don't have all those details, but we will share more as we start working on that. The framework right now is just what we've developed so far. So if you have suggestions, ideas, like, please feel free to share that information with us. We always welcome however we can to improve, like, programs that we've started. So next up, we want to talk about how to get involved. So what can you do to join and participate in Ardurra Cares? So on your screen, you should see the roles and responsibilities slide. This is just kind of what we've developed as how to have some structure to the different things that we see could happen. So we have a program chair and regional champions, and they would oversee and provide guidance to the event champions. They would be responsible for budget and approval of any donations that are going to be made on behalf of Ardurra Cares. We would have event champions, and this is just employees that are going to research charitable opportunities, bring up ideas, coordinate local events, distribute information to the local office, track metrics or events, and ultimately our goal is to have one per office, so one event champion per location. And then also we're going to have Ardurra Care members. So these are people who will provide ideas to the event champions. They're going to support the local initiatives that are going on, and you're going to do that by either volunteering your time or your resources towards whatever events are happening. I know probably one of the questions that has come up even in us just creating framework for this program is that, you know, is this paid time off? And so I just want to, you know, as we start out, we want to make sure that, like, people know and understand the majority of commitments that you're going to make as a part of Ardurra Cares is in volunteering. So time for participating in Ardurra Care events is not going to be paid unless it's something that's approved in advance by your practice director. Again, that could change in the future, but for now, we just want to make sure that if for some reason you're charging time for an event that you're volunteering at, that you've gotten advance approval before doing that. So how can you get involved? So first, we are looking for event champions and members, right? So you can email ardurracares@ardurra.com and let us know that you want to get involved. So tell us what you want to do or what you'd like to do, what location you're at. You can reach out to a regional champion in your area as well. We'll talk about those in a few minutes on another slide. And we are asking that the regional and event champions, like, stay engaged for a year. So we're asking you to make a commitment, and really that's just to kind of help us get started and make sure that, things run smoothly. And again, if for some reason you need to step back or you can't continue a commitment, like just letting us know so that we can find ways to keep whatever has been started continue to move on. So other ways that you can get involved is to help host or attend events that tie to the quarterly themes, and to share the stories with us. So I know that there are things that are going on right now that we don't know about. And so um, sending information to us, sharing photos, sharing what you guys got to do whenever you volunteered somewhere as a group together, just sending that to the Ardurra Cares email is helpful. And again, like we don't want to restrict anything that you're already doing, any partnerships you already have. So please keep doing those and tell us about those things, because our intention really is that we want to be able to help promote and celebrate what employees are doing across the company. So if you're doing something, even if it doesn't tie to our quarterly themes, like we'd love to know about that. You can also use the hashtag Ardurra Cares on social media. So on the screen, you see an example. This is when some employees in the Tampa office volunteered last quarter to help sort food donations at Feeding Tampa Bay. And they just use, as part of their posts, like hashtag Ardurra Cares. So you could do that as a part of when you go out and put things on social media as a group. You can also share the Ardurra company logo if you are doing a sponsorship. We do want to I know some of you have seen the Ardurra Cares logo. We've done some things internally with that. We will continue to use Ardurra Cares logo internally only. But if we're doing something externally, just to keep the branding consistent, we will be using the Ardurra company logo for sponsorships and things outside. Up next, we'll talk about the quarterly themes. Just a lot of information on the slide. I'm not going to read all of this. But when we designed and kind of came up with a program of starting this year, like we wanted to do quarterly themes and kind of have a focus for each quarter. So again, this was really just because we felt that like helping the offices, it would help offices feel connected. Like we want to inspire you all in a common goal. And if our goal is that, there's a connection to service and charitable work across the company. So the way that we see we could do that is by kind of putting together these themes and then sharing the stories of what that looks like after that quarter is up. So this is going to give us an opportunity to see across all the offices, like a bigger picture, right? The larger impact the company has. So even though you're doing something small, or you may have an initiative where you're just doing one specific thing and it's maybe only a few people in your office or in your region, there's a bigger impact that's happening whenever we get to put those stories together and show like what's happened across the company. So we're excited about that. So each quarter we are going to send out ideas for each theme. So you probably have seen that in the first quarter. You saw that for the education theme. You should have seen an email today. If you haven't seen your email, there is an email that was sent out for quarter 2 themes, the theme for quarter 2, and just ideas, suggestions on how to do that. The themes for the rest of 23 are health and safety for quarter 3, and then giving is going to be our theme for quarter 4. So if you're, a planner like me, want to start figuring those things out, you can, start looking into what things you want to consider and think about for the future quarters. All right. Moving on, I know I'm going super fast through this stuff. I'd like to have some time at the end again so that we can answer some questions. But the education theme was what we had in quarter 1. And so what I'd like to do is kind of spotlight and talk about, in quarter 1, we encouraged offices to find a way to support education, right? And so the spotlight for quarter 1 is basically a story about mentorship And Linda Lemeth from our Las Vegas office is here, and she's going to tell us how she's been involved with mentoring the teen board of the Be a Shiro Foundation, and also just give some updates on other things that happened in quarter 1 that that we know about. Like, I'm sure there was other things that we didn't get pictures and information about, but the things that we were shared with us, like, we want to talk about those as well. So Linda, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. Yeah, so as she mentioned, I was a part of mentoring the teen board for the Be a Shiro Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization here in Las Vegas, and Las Vegas is actually the #1 sex trafficking in the world. And so I was able to be fortunate to be a part of this organization by mentoring the teen board. So every Sunday I get with teenagers and educating them not only through high school, but also through college, helping them out with their college application and winning some scholarships. So it's about being able to foster the education for the youth. I'm a strong believer in an advocate for continuing education and providing that volunteerism. And so this quarter is for education. And so I know that we had the gala as well at the Be a Shiro. So Ardurra was a part of that. And so that's been really nice and helpful. So next slide. So the other education theme events that we have for quarter 1 included sponsorship for Leadership Portland program. So that's the organization works to make the community a better place to work, live, and play. So each year there's a different class that comes up with a project where they help to raise money in order to complete class projects. This year's class chose to plant trees, benches, and artworks along a walking trail in their community that lacks those vegetations. The other one is Feeding Tampa Bay. So they were part of the Nation Feeding America network and focusing on providing food for about 1 million families who needed food in 10 county area of Central Florida. 18 Ardurra employees and their family members volunteered their time to sort food donations and to also learn about the mission and impact of the food relief in Tampa Bay. The other is Engineers Week. As most of you probably are aware, Engineers Week was in February. In Las Vegas, we actually also have a Engineers Week banquet where we're celebrating that, essentially where multiple employees, engineers across different locations spend their time volunteering at different schools talking about STEM to get more people involved in students in STEM. So as you know, we need more engineers. And so it's just about how can we connect the youth to getting them more excited about STEM and careers in engineering. So with that said, to not forget, if you guys do any of the volunteer work within Ardurra or part of Ardurra Cares, to make sure you share your stories and photos at Ardurra Cares at ardurra.com. So that way we can advertise more and contribute as a program together. Next slide. And so with that said, I'll follow this off with David Carlson, who will talk about the environmental theme, which is for our quarter 2. I think you're on mute, David.
Good afternoon. My name is David Carlson. I work in the Tampa office for Ardurra. I am the local champion for community service here in the Tampa office. We've done several events so far in the past several months. I was a community service coordinator at my last job for over a decade. So when I came here, there was a need for it, and I was happy to fill the position. This Saturday, we organized a beach cleanup with Keep Tampa Bay Beautiful, and I, along with my wife and daughter and 18 other Ardurra employees, will be doing a beach cleanup at a local park. Other ideas you could do a cleanup anywhere. I also clean up trash in my neighborhood by myself. You could fundraise for a local charity that deals with nature. You could host a carpool or bike to work day. Eat lunch with locally sourced foods. Something we did here in the Tampa office, they don't use plastic silverware. They went and bought all metal silverware so we don't have to throw plastic away all the time. We just have a dishwasher and we wash it. So that's one way we help. Again, if you do go out and do community service events, we'd like you to share that with us. Even if it's not organized through the company, you do it yourself, we would still like to know about it. The sum of all the community service that we do is what we're trying to keep track of, and the good that we can do through our company for our communities.
Thank you, David and Linda, for sharing. And, you know, like we said, like it is just really a part of us trying to make sure that, you know, we're able to provide like stories back to, you know, the employees about what is happening, and make you guys feel connected and feel and understand like that there's a bigger, you know, there's a bigger picture to than just what we're doing locally. So I do want to go over the regional contacts. So we have had some volunteers that have been working with me on putting together this program to share with you guys, and also that have stepped up to volunteer and be the regional contacts. So many of you have seen probably this map that kind of is the regional map that we show of the organization. So this is just listing who the regional contacts are that will be helping coordinate with event champions. So this list is also available on Ardurra Connect. So if you're looking for our contact information, it might be small on this, but you can also find it on Ardurra Connect. So Brett Deo has volunteered and will be the contact for the Northwest region. Linda Lim and Ben Nicholas will be contacts for the Southwest region. I myself, Jessica Bowser, going to be the contact for the Central region, and David Carlson will be the regional contact for the Southeast region. So this doesn't by all means mean that we don't need additional regional contacts. If you're interested in helping out or being a part of that, we'd absolutely love to hear from you about that too. So before we get to questions, I do just want to remind you guys, like, how, you know, what can you do? How do you get involved? And so first and foremost, obviously, we want to hear from you. You know, if you have ideas, suggestions, if you want to get involved in giving back or becoming one of the event champions, you can email, again, Ardurra Cares email at ardurra.com. You can get involved by hosting an event, you know, do something that ties to the quarterly events that are coming up. And then don't forget to share your stories with us. You can start using the Ardurra Cares hashtag, you know, Ardurra Cares when you're doing events. You can go to Ardurra Connect. That page has additional information and resources. Again, as we start doing more things, we'll also put additional information on there to share as we get some, you know, event champions in place. They'll probably want to also have resources on there that can, you know, be shared across regions, so you have ideas and suggestions as well. And then we also want you to have fun. Like, there's so many opportunities and ways to get involved, to give back to your community or just to volunteer. And so I'm excited about our Ardurra Cares program. I'm excited to hear the stories that are going to be shared as you guys go out and get involved in your communities. So with that said, we are going to open it up for questions. So if you haven't already posted your question in the chat there, feel free to do so. I'm going to come through and try to answer whatever questions we have. And if I can't, if I don't have an answer, we'll get back to you. So let's see. Is the $250 budget per office? No. So we basically took the overall budget that we have and we kind of split it based on the number of employees and regions. And the $250 budget is more for an event. So if you don't already have funds that your office has designated for doing those type of things, you can come to the regional champion in your area and request, you know, up to $250 for whatever event that you're going to be doing. and we'll help you with that. Next question is, does or will Ardurra match charitable contributions made by employees? So not at this time, like that is the intention behind creating a foundation, is that it does allow you to do additional things on a not, on a pre-tax or non-tax basis. So we would have to have that set up in order for us to be able to do that. So that is a goal as a part of the Ardurra Foundation to do something like that. Nothing compares to the heart of a volunteer. So yes, agree. And again, a part of this program is that we do want people who are interested and passionate about, something in either your community or that you've have been doing, and maybe you haven't necessarily like integrated that with your work life. Like that's something that I think Ardurra Cares is going to be able to help with, and being able to share those stories and see that, maybe only you volunteered and did something, but maybe the next time like 2 people or 3 people do it. So that is kind of the part of like sharing these things, is giving, it's going to give life to things that maybe you didn't think you could by just talking about it individually within your office. So how did the new roles and responsibilities impact programs already in place? So for example, our office already contributes thousands of dollars to educational events hosted by ASCE. Will approval need to go through this avenue? No. So the only approvals that need to go through Ardurra Cares are the ones if we are using Ardurra Cares funds. So again, if your office is already doing programs, you're already volunteering or doing some type of event that was budgeted through maybe your operations side of, or through some other budget through the organization, like you will continue to do those as you've been doing them. So that doesn't have to come through Ardurra Cares, but we would love to hear about your stories. So if you're doing those things, we would want to be able to share that also. Is there a separate channel, teams, etc. for event champions? So there currently is not, but that doesn't mean that we can't set that up. So that's a great idea. We will put that down. And so that there is a way for event champions to communicate. Also, I'm assuming all this information is on the Ardurra Hub site. So it is on Ardurra Connect. So if you are looking for, and I don't know if we put the slides up yet, but if we haven't, we will. We intend to also, if we were trying to determine if this is able to be recorded, and if this is records, like we will post the presentation as well. But either way, we'll put the slides up on Ardurra Connect. Again, if you go to the People Programs page and go to Ardurra Connect, Ardurra Cares, you'll see information there, and it'll also include the quarterly themes that we have so far with the ideas, and it also includes the regional context. And Ardurra considers subsidizing memberships in service-based organizations like the Rotary Alliance, etc. That's a good question, and I'd have to get back to you on that, Andrea. Is education limited to K-12 or work with university students included? I would definitely say work with university students also included in that. I think that really, education kind of is a broad spectrum and can be a lot of different stuff. So can this presentation be downloaded to refer to later? Yes, we will put that on the Ardurra Connect. Let's see. In Ocala, Florida, Ardurra office is sponsoring and participating in a run for the Springs event this weekend, an environmental event to focus on the Florida springs and water quality. So thanks for posting that, Chuck. If people are interested in that, if you want to send information, or if someone wants to post that information, like send us a story about it as well. Ernesto, thanks for doing this. You're welcome. If event champions are working on a single event, what does it mean to stay involved for the entire year? So can they stop being a champion after the conclusion of an event? So our intention was kind of like the event champion to be over the events for their office for a year. And if you guys have other suggestions and ideas of how that works, we're happy to entertain that. Originally, because we're trying to just start it out, we were hoping that event champions will stay involved for a year so that there can be a transition of people coming and starting stuff and then maybe not doing it for a whole year, but doing events like you were saying. But initially, what we'd like to ask is for you to make a commitment so that it can get off the ground. And if you can't commit and you only want to commit to an event, like we don't want to say that you can't do that. So we want to be flexible. If that's something that you're interested in just doing a specific event, like let us know. We're happy to help coordinate with that and coordinate with your area about that. So SWI Ardurra is sponsoring the Granite Creek cleanup this coming Saturday. The Ardurra logo will be on the volunteer shirts. We'll get some pictures. And how do I send them? So not sure if an Ardurra Cares event. So you can just send those pictures to, or whatever story you want to share about that, to the Ardurra Cares at ardurra.com. Thanks, Linda. And all right, it seems like that's all the questions we have. If there's anything else that we didn't cover, again, we're happy to answer any questions. Like you can reach out to myself, you can reach out to the regional contacts that we have listed. And again, we're excited about the opportunities for you guys to hear and know more about like the different things that go on across the company and the charitable work that's happening in our communities. So thank you guys again for joining. Please reach out by email or by Teams if you have any additional questions or would like some additional information. We're happy to talk to you guys about that. So thanks again for joining. Have a great rest of your day.